Most of us don't realize this, but Japan is home to some of the world's oldest people. It has one of the world's oldest populations. Around 28% of the 127 million people in Japan are over the age of 65. Compare that to India. Only 8% of Indians are over the age of 65. In Japan, the elderly outnumber children. 13.3% of Japan's population is working age. That's what most countries have. In India, 34% of the population is working age. So you can see the stark difference. How did this happen? Why are there so few young people in Japan? Well, the answer lies in another stark statistic. Japan has one of the world's lowest birth rates. Each Japanese woman gives birth to 1.33 children, way below the replacement rate of 2.1. Basically, each woman is giving birth to fewer than 2 children, which means fewer people are being born each year. This divide is most obvious when you look at cities and villages. Cities like Tokyo remain populated, but venture beyond the neon lights and towering buildings, and you will find a different story. Entire villages are disappearing. Farmlands are being abandoned. Houses are being demolished. Japan has thousands of ghost towns. Around 17 million people have left the countryside in the last 3 decades. What's driving this rural exodus? Lack of jobs, lack of opportunities. Young people are moving to cities in search of better lives. But this trend has its consequences. A shrinking workforce means slower economic growth. It also means fewer taxpayers and a larger burden on the government. More money is going towards healthcare and pensions, and that's not a good sign for any country. But perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of this story is the human cost. We're talking about real people here. We're talking about families and communities that are disappearing from the face of the earth. Schools are shutting down in villages. By 2040, most of Japan's primary schools could be empty, and that's not an exaggeration. Many villages already have no school-going children. They don't even have enough kids for a single classroom. So the question is, how did Japan come to this point? How did this silent crisis unfold? For decades, Japan had one of the highest fertility rates among developed nations. Women were working. They were getting married and having children. But after the 1990s, this trend reversed. The economic stagnation, the rising cost of living, the limited job opportunities, all of it took a toll on Japanese women. They began rethinking marriage and childbearing, and the trend continues to this day. In the last 3 decades, the number of newborns in Japan has fallen by 30%. Today, only 1 in 4 women in Japan are married, and only 1 in 2 of them have children. So what is the government doing to reverse this trend? It is trying everything. In recent years, the Japanese government has announced policies worth $92 billion. They're meant to encourage marriage and childbirth. They offer cash incentives, subsidies, tax breaks, even free diapers. Nothing seems to be working. Recently, the Japanese government asked foreign workers to fill the void, to plug the demographic gap. They're mulling a new plan to make it easier for foreigners to work in Japan. But do you think that's enough? Will these measures help reverse the trend? We cannot say for sure. A new report sheds light on the stark future that awaits Japan unless things change drastically. According to experts, in 100 years, Japan could lose up to half of its population. The report was published by the Japanese government itself. It paints a grim picture of the country's future. This is the story of an entire nation that's on the decline, a nation that's growing older with each passing day. This is the story of Japan, a story we must pay attention to, because, as they say, history never repeats itself, but it often rhymes.